Hi. So obviously Elon is genius smart, but don't you find it very reassuring whether it's Elon or Einstein or Carl Sagan or the Corinthians or the Beatles? Well, they all seem to be pointing to love as being the answer and the place to be coming from. This yearning is nothing new. And since it happens to be Michelangelo's 500th birthday, let's hear what he has to say. I rate this one at a point 0.8, but of course it'll change. He says, my soul can find no staircase of heaven, like we're building over here, unless it be through the earth's loveliness. We quite agree, and we're going to be doing that. And since Maya Angelou rhymes with Michelangelo, let's read what she has to say. Love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. So don't you think that during this uniquely symbolic year of 2020, the opportunity is ripe to venture out in the frontier as never before? Why not mix up with brothers and sisters outside your normal circle of friends? Meet new faces from around our planet. I personally look forward to linking up with vegan adventurers around the world. My sons Matthew and John have in recent years become vegan, and with their delicious foods, I'm beginning to see and taste the light. You should have seen what we had in Australia. It's amazing. And and back to another thought I had earlier on the earlier interview that Elon had with Joe Rogan. He speaks about how many of our governments are working on weaponizing artificial intelligence. Again, on that, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see what that could bring. Of course, under those circumstances, a lot of us are extremely eager to see Elon succeed in getting our seed safely established on Mars. I'm guessing that you probably believe, as I, that we are an unbelievably rare and special life form, and we do need to be guarded, mostly at this point from ourselves. But today, we do know what happened to those dinosaurs, amazing creatures, and the really bad day that they had when that asteroid unexpectedly dropped in, I think, below Mexico a while back. And you know what I'm getting at. So we do need to support Elon's urgent quest to make us a multi-planetary species, because you just never know. It's really the minimum insurance policy to protect our species. So Godspeed, Elon. By the way, I'm looking forward to heading over to Cape Canaveral on the 17th of January to catch my first SpaceX launch. This is one of the first Crew Dragon Falcon 9 tests, so we don't have to rely on Russia to get to the space station. This will be the first of 2 missions to make sure everything's tested out before we start actually transporting live astronauts. I'm very excited. And do you remember last year when Elon was getting so frustrated by the FUD from those short sellers messing with his game plans, who were continuing to hamper the market growth over at Tesla? He was getting so much resistance that he wanted to take Tesla private, like the way he manages over at SpaceX. Let me show you just a glimpse at why perhaps he would think that way. Finally, here it is.
Now,
it's after this story.
One before, so this could be a totally new truck, or it could be the matte black one painted red. Check this out. This is a tweet from Bloomberg's John Ehrlichman. This is SpaceX's valuation shown in a graph form. So just to give you some idea, back in December of 2002, the company was worth $27 million. Today, it is worth over $30 billion.
Right. That is 1,000 times higher valuation. That is in 3 orders of magnitude.
And look at this curve. That is not a linear curve.
No, that is an S-curve.
Yes.
And it's not even begun to peak yet.
And speaking of SpaceX, these are some cool SpaceX stats from Octograbber's Twitter account. 66th Falcon 9 launch, 65th successful one.
This year. That's 98.5% success rate.
Excellent.
And the 50th Falcon 9 core to launch.
So
now,
excited.
You're saying, wait, how could they have launched 66 Falcon 9s and only 50 cores? That's because they relaunched some of the cores.
So a new world record has been broken
All
using a model for.
Wow, what a trajectory SpaceX market value is on. And they haven't even begun to reach maximum climb velocity. I'm pretty sure that Tesla growth rate will soon be on a similar trajectory. You know, last night I encountered something quite timely via our miraculous internet as I was doing some final research for this call to action. And I chanced upon this TED Talk with this little girl behind me. She's a 15-year-old Swedish girl named Greta. I want to show you just a snippet. And yes, the full thing, it's not that long, it is definitely on your required homework. I'm just going to show you a little teaser from it.
Burning fossil fuels was so bad that it threatened our very existence. How could we just continue like before? Why were there no restrictions? Why wasn't it made illegal? To me, that did not add up. It was too unreal. So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking and I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary. Now was one of those moments.
Brave little girl.
For those of us who are on the spectrum, almost everything is black or white. We aren't very good at lying, and we usually don't enjoy participating in the social game that the rest of you seem so fond of. I think in many ways that we autistic are the normal ones, and the rest of the people are pretty strange. Especially when it comes to the sustainability crisis, where everyone keeps saying that climate change is an existential threat and the most important issue of all, and yet they just carry on like before. I don't understand that, because if the emissions have to stop, then we must stop the emissions. To me, that is black or white.
If you could do a
There are
screenshot.
no grey areas when it comes to survival. Either we go on as a civilization or we don't. We have.
Good job, Greta. You know, here's an idea I'd like to float to Tesla's board of directors. After seeing SpaceX's market value just rocket, why not consider diluting Tesla's stock price? Consider bringing it down to around $5, maybe $15 per share, something like that. Make it more affordable, like you're doing with your cars. Every new version of car is more affordable. I believe more people will want to participate at this easier to acquire stock price. And if you currently own Tesla stock like I do, it simply means you own more diluted shares with no real change in actual value. And it doesn't really cost the company anything. That's the great part. I believe we're going to see off-the-chart demand for this Model Y Fun variant, much greater than can be produced on the current production schedules you guys have been working out. You see, on these upcoming gatherings, especially after hearing from Greta so clearly here, her words are so clear. Well, let's just say the last thing we want to do here is arrive at these fantastic events in ICE vehicles like Hummers and other highly combustible vehicles. So, oh, excuse me, I just received this important message. Actually, just yesterday I saw this come across and I wanted to share it with you. I think it's a little bit timely. It simply is, here's a screenshot for what I'm referring to. Oh, it's just a little quote. It's an old quote, I'm sure. See if you can get a screenshot of that while I read it. Like vanishing dew, a passing apparition, or a sudden flash of lightning, already gone. Thus should one regard one's self. Boy, oh boy, that's saying don't delay. We're here for an instant. Let's make it happen. So I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully you got a screenshot of that. So I'd like to have you read that again. Let it sink in. All right, that really hits home for me. And that does it. I'm doing it. I'm going to elevate our fun adventures to DEFCON 3. So choose your own reason, or do it for Greta over here. Let's turn on the fun now. So let's make it easy for Elon to employ those workers from those soon-to-be idled GM plants or other facilities around. Elon is the right person at the right time for this task. If you think about his learning curve from the last year alone that he's gone through, well, they've persevered not only through their production hell that they anticipated, but through the media hell. Rather than support, it was horrible, where they were peppered with fear and doubt on every step of the way. So yes, I've got faith in him and his dedicated team members. And think about this. Elon is so wealthy, he doesn't need any of this. He could retire nicely 1,000 times over. Can you see that he is a strong spirit and he's acting out of his love for mankind here? I hope you can see that. I hope you can. Tesla is now poised for takeoff. They have successfully made it through production hell. At this point, I can easily see this more accessible, inexpensive stock doubling and doubling quite rapidly. I'm guessing if the stock price was split along these lines, people would acquire a lot more and stockholders would profit in so many ways. In my opinion, the stock price is really undervalued, especially when you consider the wide range of earth-saving products and services with unlimited upward potential ahead. My little brother Elon, I'm 59 years old, or I can say that. Let me tell you right here, if you and your board of directors approve of this dilution of stock experiment, I personally will go all in with you and your Tesla family. This action should lift Tesla past the doldrums at this crucial time in history, thusly empowering Elon. We want you to help us navigate through this very tricky minefield that is lying before us all. You see, last night after listening to Greta over here, I started watching TED Talks about our new AI future that we're going to be merging into, and we already are. And it really gave me the willies, to say the least. So I didn't sleep well last night. Like Greta too, I obviously have a different brain up here. And since you're all watching my movie right now, my brain is now flipping over to a different movie scene from, of course, our Wobble movie Matrix, which is also a redemptive classic called It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. And there's a beautiful scene where the whole town comes together and surprises George Bailey, or Elon Musk, and helps his small bank survive attempts from the greedy, predatory big bankers who are trying to make his firm fail. What a great movie this is. I recommend it. I see parallels here, but let's switch back. This is now our movie now. Let's make it a happy ending. Consider buying some inexpensive $5 or $15 stocks, and let's put this stock on a SpaceX trajectory where it belongs. And then when the shorts attempt their ploys, well, that's when I always buy more. Maybe you have kids you hope will survive in this wild future ahead, and maybe consider asking your kids if they might want to buy a couple shares with their own money so that they too can play a role in this cliffhanger movie. I recall a while back Warren Buffett advising us to only buy stock in companies that you believe in. To me, this is more than a money-making investment. It's a key part of saving the planet and helping our future generations. Remember, the really bad effects of our past actions don't really hit us baby boomers. It's what we leave behind for Greta and all of our children to deal with. So consider providing Elon with the resources to get you into your new green 2020 all-wheel drive Model Y fun adventure vehicle. It should really become a collector's item. Plus, you never have to do another oil change. Won't that be great? So let's rocket this stock, while also being very aware that there are many very powerful, misguided forces that are very good at manipulating media and effectively holding back publicly traded Earth-positive companies like Tesla. They really seem to want all of Elon's best efforts to fail. Just consider the wealth and power and influence behind all of those Earth-heating industries, plus the power of those huge fund managers. You may even have holdings in some of these. So I realize that I've been hammering this concept hard, but Oh, how I love a good redemptive ending, especially in a cliffhanger movie, such as the one we're all in. By the way, if you would be interested in considering any of these types of investments and taking risk in our future, I'd recommend you follow this up by learning a little extra on today's extra credit homework, which is watching a Now You Know episode. Okay. Screenshot this one. Okay, extra credit. Zach and Jesse's Uncover the Fudding Truth. Fear and doubt, basically. All the fear and doubt that keep you from jumping on board. And then also, secondarily, watch these TED Talks on AI. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Just choose any of them. I think you need to bring yourself up to speed. It's right around the corner. So, got your homework for you. Okay, now let's move on to today's ICE auto manufacturers. ICE is an acronym for Internal Combustion Engines. When you hear the word combustion, maybe it might be useful to just think of Greta over here crying and our lovely planet exploding. So try to burn those images in. Most companies around the world have been talking up their new electric transportation technologies for a long time now. But we need your new non-combustion technology vehicles now. Get going. Please adopt the asterisk, or please adopt the exclamation point for your fun, clean models. And remember, these fun variants incorporate the wobble matrix unit on the display to link us all to the fun. And don't fret over the wobble unit itself. That should arrive to us all organically. And yes, clean car manufacturers, we will buy every electric vehicle your companies can provide for this once in a lifetime adventure. For instance, check out Hyundai. They have an exciting new electric Kona, and the reviews are excellent. Check that out and tell them we're going to need more. Communicate. Now it's time to communicate. Likewise, we'll need more Chevy Bolts, along with all types of new all-wheel drive variants they'll come up with. Europe, you've really been lagging. You've been showing us a lot of prototypes, but we need to see you actually start production of your own fun variants. Need to step it up. In China, you're doing great. Keep moving ahead like you are. I'm sure you'll show us lots of innovative products. Also, we're going to need camping, portable lightweight festival gear, so that you'll be able to support spontaneous carried performances. It's all random. It's all on the fly. Linkable, lightweight, affordable, portable solar arrays. Maybe someone will come up with a new portable solar tent, a design that electrical engineers please get working on these design upgrades for the tasks ahead. These arrays will provide protection and simultaneously trickle feed electricity back into our vehicular power systems. Also, well, of course, some of us are going to be out exploring, moving about this beautiful planet in these clean vehicles. Others will be mingling with different people and faces and celebrating in places like New York, London, and throughout the entire planet. We want to be using the upcoming satellite technologies so that we can link together. So imagine impromptu gatherings in Central Park in New York, where maybe several organic events are spontaneously happening. Then imagine at one of these small gatherings, something amazing is happening. So we start seeing on our wobble matrix a lot of sparkling going on. Basically, even though I'm out exploring in New Zealand for the first time, I can't wait to get to New Zealand, I'm able to be there live or view it later on my travelable 4K projector. So you satellite brothers and sister geniuses, bring it on and get ready for us, please.